This is DD India and you're watching Express News, a program where we bring you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has announced the reopening of several major tourist spots in the Union Territory that were temporarily closed following the Pahalgam terror attack. After a comprehensive assessment of the security situation, Betab Valley, Verina, Kokarnak, Badambadi and Duck Park have been made accessible to the public, among many other destinations. India's largest Gati Shakti multimodal cargo terminal was inaugurated in Manesar, Gurgaon by Rail Minister Ashwini Vaishnav and Haryana Chief Minister Nayab Singh Saini in a grand ceremony. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav praised Maruti's role and announced reforms to the Tatkal ticketing system starting July 1st, along with new Amrit Bharat trains and major investments. Nationwide, 108 multimodal cargo terminals and 34 Amrit Bharat stations are underway to boost logistics and connectivity. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami participated in the review meeting regarding the preparations for Ma Nanda Devi Rajat Yatra 2026 through video conferencing. On the instructions of the Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, a health check-up camp has been set up in the State Information Directorate today, in which more than 200 tests are being done free of cost. The Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga kicked off Yoga Bandhan in New Delhi as part of the build-up to the International Day of Yoga 2025. Organized by the Ministry of Ayush, Yoga Bandhan is one of the 10 signature events under International Day of Yoga 2025 aimed at strengthening global ties through institutional and people-to-people connections in yoga. The inaugural session featured addresses by top Ayush and ICCR officials, followed by a tour of the MDNIY campus and interactive discussions with the international delegates. Union Home Secretary Govind Mohan chaired a review meeting with top chiefs of the J&K Police, Indian Army and CRPF and other agencies to finalize an action plan on security and preparations for the Amarnath Yatra. 5 days after the unfortunate incident, authorities continue to work round the clock to ensure that DNA samples could be matched and remains handed over to grieving families as quickly as possible. So far, tests have verified the identities of 144 victims and the mortal remains of 101 victims were handed over to their families. The first meeting of the high-level committee set up by the government to investigate the tragic plane crash was held in New Delhi on Monday. Chaired by the Union Home Secretary Govind Mohan, the panel will submit its report within 3 months, which is expected to focus on formulating standard operating procedures for preventing such occurrences in the future. A separate investigation is also being carried out by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, which is looking into the technical aspects of the crash. Helicopter flights to Kedarnath Dham resumed today, 2 days after the fatal chopper crash on June 15th, killing 7 people, which temporarily halted operations. The Chief Executive Officer of Uttarakhand Civil Aviation Development Authority has, however, clarified that operations will be carried out only in the event of suitable weather. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta today inaugurated 33 Ayushman Arogya Mandir in the national capital. She also inaugurated 17 Jan Aushadhi Kendras. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh launched a 5-year vision document titled Income Generation from Banana Cultivation in the Vokha district of Nagaland under the One District, One Product initiative. On to business news now. The Financial Action Task Force has condemned the Pahalgam terror attack, saying the attack could not have occurred without financial backing. The organization has reaffirmed its support to over 200 jurisdictions within its global network to build their counter-financing of terrorism measures. Indian equity indices ended on a negative note in the volatile session on Tuesday. At close, the Sensex declined 212 points to settle at 81,583. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange dropped 93 points to settle at 24,853. Gold futures maturing on August 5th were priced at 99,222 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for July 4th maturity stood at 1,07,556 rupees per kilo on the MCX. Indian rupee declined 20 paise to close at 86 rupees 24 paise against the US dollar on Tuesday. Global stocks slid and oil prices rose on Tuesday in the backdrop of developments in West Asia, sparking a wave of risk-off moves in early Asian trading. S&P 500 futures fell 0.5%, European futures slumped 0.7%. The Bank of Japan was the first central bank to announce its monetary policy decisions, keeping short-term interest rates steady at 0.5% as anticipated. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan opened up 0.2%, while China and Hong Kong equities slipped 0.1% each. Oil prices rose on Tuesday amid rising Israel-Iran tensions. Brent crude climbed 1.1% to $74.05 a barrel, while US crude was also up 1.1% at $72.54 a barrel. After successfully concluding the Cyprus leg of his three-nation visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Canada early this Tuesday to attend the G7 summit. Prime Minister will exchange views with leaders of the G7 countries and other invited outreach countries on crucial global issues, including that of energy security, among others. The group of 7 nations have expressed support for Israel and labelled its rival Iran as a source of instability in West Asia. In a statement issued late on Monday, the leaders called for peace and stability in the region. The joint statement, backed by Trump and released by Canada, also said that Israel has a right to defend itself and stressed the importance of the protection of civilians. Indian students in Tehran have been moved out of the city for reasons of safety through arrangements made by the Indian embassy. Those who are self-sufficient in terms of transport have also been advised to move out of the city. US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the finalization of a trade deal between the two countries at the G7 summit in Canada. US President Donald Trump cut short his G7 summit earlier today, although he rejected claims that his early departure from the G7 summit was not related towards a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Earlier, French President Emmanuel Macron had suggested that Trump had made an offer for a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, and nuclear talks with Iran could resume once the ceasefire is achieved. Iran and Israel continue to trade fire for a 5th night, with a new wave of Iranian strikes across central Israel reported. There were direct impacts from those Iranian missiles in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Israeli military said that it has killed Iran's wartime chief of staff in overnight strikes on western Iran. Israel said during the strikes, dozens of surface-to-surface missile storage and launch infrastructure facilities were struck in Iran. Israel's strikes on the headquarters of Iran's state television in Tehran killed 3 people, the broadcaster said on Tuesday, a day after the attack. Amid the escalating tensions, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that killing Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei would end the conflict between the two countries. US President Donald Trump and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz met on the sidelines of the G7 summit held in Kananaskis, Canada. US President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that he would likely extend the deadline for China-based ByteDance to divest the US assets of short video app TikTok. A California court will hear arguments on Tuesday on whether US President Trump must give up control of the state's National Guard after he sent troops to protest hit Los Angeles against the wishes of local officials. An explosion at a fireworks factory in the southern Chinese province of Hunan killed 9 people and injured 26 others. The hunger crisis in Haiti worsens as the United Nations warns of funding cuts that could deepen food insecurity. Cambodia has banned fruit and vegetable imports from Thailand amid escalating tensions following a recent border clash between the two countries. A German court sentenced Syrian doctor Ala Musa to life imprisonment for crimes against humanity related to torture at military hospitals. 2 suspects linked to the murder of an Australian man at a Bali villa were arrested following a multi-day manhunt. We are heading for a short break here in Express News. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolve through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. Let's resume. At least 29 people have died in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo after weekend rains triggered severe floods and landslides. Heavy rains and flash floods in West Virginia have left 6 people dead, with 2 still missing. Weather officials in West Virginia are closely monitoring the region as more rainfall is expected in the coming days. A landslide hit Bocca di Cadore in northern Italy, prompting evacuation of dozens of residents. Triggered by intense rainfall, the landslide brought mud and rocks down the alpine slopes, damaging infrastructure and isolating parts of the town. In the last 24 hours, over 221 districts in Gujarat were hit by heavy rain, with Saurashtra and South Gujarat receiving the highest totals. Due to 2 low-pressure areas over South Gujarat, Saurashtra and Kutch are likely to see very heavy rainfall, severe thunderstorms and lightning in the next 24 hours. The Indian Weather Department has issued an orange alert for Maharashtra following heavy rain on Monday that caused waterlogging in several parts of the state. Parts of Delhi received rainfall on Tuesday, bringing much-needed relief from the prevailing heatwave conditions in the national capital. The IMD forecasts heavy rain in Kerala through June 18th, issuing red, orange and yellow alerts across several districts. Marine scientists near the Gyaros Island in Greece are restoring underwater forests of Cystosierra algae to revive damaged marine ecosystems. In Shenyang, Liaoning province, over 50 couples showcased 5 traditional Chinese wedding costumes at the Dynasty Wedding Costume Exhibition. The 27th Shanghai International Film Festival features Where Dreams Were Created, an exhibition tracing 120 years of Chinese cinema history. Amsterdam is opening an exhibition dedicated to the 17th century Baroque sculptor artist Quilinus, celebrating the artistic legacy. France posthumously awarded Jean and Jean Philippot the righteous among the nations medal for sheltering Jewish children during the Second World War. In Venezuela's El Dorado, powdered gold is currently weighed and used for everyday purchases in local transactions. Streets of La Paz, Bolivia came alive with dancers, musicians and singers during the vibrant festival of the Great Power. Naga tribes from India held talks in the UK to reclaim ancestral remains taken during colonial times and displayed in museums. Skulls and body parts from Asia and Africa were once brought to Britain as colonial trophies for trade, display or scientific study. The collection of late Belgian artist Isabelle de Bochgrave, known for her paper, dresses and creations, will be up for bids in Brussels on June 17th. On World Crocodile Day, India celebrates the recovery of 3 crocodile species, gharial, mugger and saltwater crocodile, from near extinction. The world observed the day to combat desertification and drought on Tuesday with the theme Restore the Land, Unlock the Opportunities. In Prayagraj, people performed water yoga in Yamuna River on Tuesday as a lead-up to the International Yoga Day. Ahead of the International Day of Yoga, Border Security Force (BSF) troops performed yoga exercises at a border outpost along the Indo-Pakistan border in Rajasthan. In Sikkim's Gangtok, a special Yoga Samavesh program was organized with children with disabilities ahead of the International Day of Yoga. Director Danny Boyle, along with actors Aaron Taylor Johnson and Jodie Comer, promoted their upcoming film 28 years later at an event in London. Brad Pitt and F1 star Lewis Hamilton lift up Times Square for the premiere of the racing film F1, set to hit theatres on June 27th via the Warner Brothers. A California doctor accused in the ketamine overdose death of Friends actor Matthew Perry has agreed to plead guilty to 4 felony drug distribution charges. Dr. Salvador Plasencia, who ran a Malibu urgent care clinic, could face up to 40 years in prison for illegally distributing ketamine, prosecutors said. Cake pop group Atiz dropped their 12th EP Golden Hour Part 3, featuring 5 tracks including the new single Lemon Drop. A Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa, Jack Black and Emma Myers, Jennifer Coolidge will start streaming on Max from June 20th. In a rare and historic meeting at the Vatican City, Hollywood legend Al Pacino and producer Manasvi Mamgai were officially received by Pope Leo XIV for their upcoming film Captivated. Filmmaker S.S. Rajamouli is working on his upcoming project SSMB29, starring Mahesh Babu, Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Prithviraj Sukumaran. The film is shaping up to be a visually ambitious cinematic experience. Akshay Kumar's Houseful 5 continues its successful run at the box office, crossing 158 crore rupees in India within 11 days and becoming his 6th highest grossing film. The highly anticipated teaser of Prabhas starrer The Raja Saab was released on Monday. The film is set to hit theatres on December 5th. The 2025-27 World Test Championship cycle has begun with the first match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh on Tuesday. The The International Cricket Council could sanction 4-day tests for smaller nations in the 2027-29 World Test Championship cycle. New Zealand women's captain Sophie Devine has announced that she will retire from one-day internationals after the World Cup later this year in India. The Netherlands beat Nepal but needed a record-breaking 3 super overs to clinch victory in their 2020 Tri-Series match in Glasgow. Curator of the pitch for the first test between India and England in Leeds, Richard Robinson, expects 300 runs to be an ideal total in the first innings. The Women's Tennis Association announced that the Chennai Open tennis tournament is set to return this October after a 3-year hiatus. Taylor Fritz has surpassed Novak Djokovic to claim the 4th spot in the latest ATP rankings following his victory at Stuttgart Open. Tatjana Maria jumped 43 places to reach the 43rd spot in the latest WTA rankings after she claimed the Queen's Club Championships. Frances Tiafoe fell to a first-round exit at Queen's Club as veteran Dan Evans rolled back the years to secure 7-5, 6-2 win. Russian third seed Daniil Medvedev eased past home favourite Daniel Altmaier 6-3, 6-3 at Germany's Halle Open. Poland's Magdalena Fek came from a set down to battle past world number 7 Mira Andreeva 2-6, 7-5, 6-0 in the Berlin Open round 16. Sevilla announced the appointment of former Argentina international Matias Almeida as the Spanish club's new coach on a 3-year deal. Paris Saint-Germain have returned to the training in California ahead of their match against Brazil's Botafogo on Thursday. Pedro Neto and Enzo Fernandez propelled Chelsea to a 2-0 victory over Los Angeles in the Club World Cup in Atlanta. And the English Women's Super League is set to expand to 14 teams from 12 in the 2026-27 season after the proposal was voted through by the clubs. And that's it in this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.